On VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, and it is great to be joined by this man. It's Tanner Kern. He does absolutely tremendous work at DraftKings, and just for the show, for those that watch on VSiN.com, YouTube TV, he got a very nice haircut. You're looking sharp, Tanner, and I'm sure that we're going to be getting some sharp plays from you, my friend. Always appreciate it. Thank you.
Greg, thanks for having me. Thanks for shouting out the haircut. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and that is smart right there, because the less hair that you have to maintain, the more effort that you're able to stick into handicapping these cards. That's why I always shave off my head as well. So it means that it's nice, clean, easy, ready to go, and we're ready to be able to get some winners. And this is not quite the same fade that we had with the Royals on Thursday, where you had Jordan Lyles on the mound, and now the Royals, by the way, 1-16 in Jordan Lyles' 17 starts, with 14 of those losses coming by multiple runs. So you've got a nice boom there, but that said, Daniel Lynch is not a guy that I want to be backing either. He's going to be going for the Royals against Aaron Savali. He's going to be on the bum for the Guardians. Guardians in a lot of spots, hovering right around about a -180 to a -190 favorite. I'm seeing a straight -$2 out there as well. +160 to +170 your number on the Royals with a total of 8.5. Where do you stand on this one? Because with the Guardians, I think that they should be able to get the job done. One trepidation here is that it is a big, giant price, and I'd be looking for an alternative way to do this, because when it comes to having this big of a price, there's very rare cases where I'll lay the money line, but if I'm able to get a run line, much like I'm seeing here with even money +105, that's typically the way that I like to attack it.
Yeah, I'll take the run line for +105, even money, whatever you can get it at. Aaron Savali is going to be on the mound for the Guardians. He's 2-2 with a 3.96 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. The pitcher is by no means overpowering, but he's been very efficient. Now, the ERA adjusters have shown that he's gotten lucky this season, but when you look at Savali, he's a ground ball pitcher that kept the ball in the yard. Now, a big part of the Royals scoring has been home runs this season. That's not that much, but when they have scored, it's been because of the long ball this season. When you look at Daniel Lynch, he's going to pitch for the Royals. Not a guy that I want to bet on, like you were saying, Greg. Has not been as good as Savali. 2-3 with a 4.14 ERA, 1.23 WHIP. The main thing to look at in this game is the cumulative pitching numbers for both sides. Cleveland is a 3.86 team ERA, where the Royals are at a 5.29. So it's a massive difference right there. And as bad as Cleveland's offense has been, it's been a lot better than Kansas City's. As we saw tonight, they found ways to get hits late in the game, score runs, and cover on the run line. I think we're going to see a similar result in this game on Friday. When you look at the Guardians too, they're at least a serviceable team. They're 42-44 compared to the Royals at 25-62. As we approach the break, neither team is great, but I'd rather lean towards Cleveland in this spot because they are much better than Kansas City.
Yeah, with the Kansas City Royals, I think that a lot of people don't recognize this. They are much closer to the stinkitude of the Oakland A's that a lot of people want to give it credit for, because they have been really bad. And I'm so glad that you touched on that. I do want to dive a little bit further into that. You mentioned that Aaron Savali, he is doing for a little bit of regression, and this is something that I recognize as well. Fielding independent, it's not quite matching up with the ERA, but I do think that there are quite a few spots as well where even though you know that a guy is probably doing for a little bit of regression, it's like, yeah, not against this team. Are you sort of leaning that way as well? Because that's something that I factor in as well, because I know that Savali's doing for regression. I just don't see it coming against the Royals.
Yeah, I can't see it coming against the Royals either. And when we look at expected ERA versus regular ERA or fielding independent, however you want to look at it, not a lot of pitchers are similar to their ERA, right? If you can find a pitcher who's in the same ballpark, you're doing very well. But most pitchers are off from their ERA, so it's not something that I take into a ton of consideration, especially against a team like the Royals here. So going to be all over Aaron Savali. I think he shows up, and I think this offense for the Cleveland Guardians gets the job done, even though they're not that powerful.
Yep, if it were against the Atlanta Braves, I'd be sticking a little bit more credence into it than Kansas City Royals, who are dead last in the big leagues in terms of runs per game on the road. So we're in lockstep there. And, hey, you've got to play on my home state Milwaukee Brewers, as they are going to be trotting out their Corbin Burns, and Andrew Abbott gets a start for the Cincinnati Reds. This is a total of 8, and with the Cincinnati Reds, you're going to be finding them anywhere between about even money to +108, anywhere between -115 to -128 is the number on the Brewers. And for Corbin Burns, it has been an all-over-the-place season for him. I know that a lot of people are talking about arbitration. I go back and I say, you know what? He did show some weakness towards the back half of last season as well. But even with that, I think that this is maybe going a little bit too far with the Reds, like the way that they've been performing recently. But I'm willing to take Corbin Burnes in this spot. What are you saying in terms of Reds versus Brewers? A actually really big series in the NL Central.
Yeah, massive series in the NL Central. I'm going to be on the under of 8 runs here, Greg. I'm sorry to tell you this, but the Brewers have one of the worst offenses in baseball.
Oh, they do.
28th in batting average at 230. They're 24th in runs scored. I don't want to hurt your feelings too much because I know you're a Brewers guy.
Oh, don't worry. I dump on them all the time. I faded them, and I unsuccessfully faded them on Thursday, so I'm salty.
I unsuccessfully faded the Boston Red Sox tonight, too, as well. So when you fade against your team, I don't know if we should do it or not. But anyways, back to this. Corbin Burnes going to take the ball from Milwaukee, as we were saying. Allowed just 80 hits in 101 innings. He's been really good this season. Again, up and down, but his expected ERA is a 3.64 compared to his regular ERA at 4. So he has gotten unlucky a lot on the mound this season. When you look at Andrew Abbott going for the Reds, he's been sensational since arriving in the big leagues. The moment is not too big for him in any way whatsoever. 4-0 with a 1.21 ERA and a .88 WHIP. Even his expected ERA is around a 2.7, 2.8. So it's showing that he's pitching very well at this level. And when it's come against powerful offenses, too, I mean, the starts that he's had have been against really good teams, Astros, Cardinals, Padres, and Orioles. All those teams have legitimate offenses, and Andrew Abbott has risen to the occasion every single time. So I don't think he's going to have a lot of trouble with the Brewers on Friday. When you look at Cincinnati, they are a team that relies on offense, but I see Burnes shutting them down. And I also see Abbott having a good day on the mound as well. So that's taking me towards the under in this spot.
Yep, and with Andrew Abbott, I don't think he's going to maintain a .21 ERA, but he has been really impressive. I remember him when he was pitching for Virginia. I believe that team reached Omaha a few years ago, and he has been tremendous. Just like our good friend Tanner Kern over at DraftKings is tremendous, and he's joining me right here on the Greg Peterson Experience on VSiN. And this is a game that I think is of interest as well. As this is a really big series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Miami Marlins. We've actually got a lot of good series for this weekend as well. Sandy Alcantara is going to be taking the bump for Miami. Zach Wheeler, he is going for Philadelphia. This total is 7.5, and with the Phillies, they're between -120 to a -125 favorite. This game just screams out a legacy price and maybe a little bit of an overrating of the reigning Cy Young winner in Sandy Alcantara. He just has not been good in general recently. Personally, I think that there's some solid value here on the Phillies, and I'm also going to be taking a look at the over because I think that the Phillies get to him.
Bookmakers have been overreacting to Sandy Alcantara all season. He's not the Cy Young Sandy Alcantara that we saw a year ago. It's just not the case this season. Phillies coming off a massive sweep over the Rays, huge confidence boost as well, and that was in Tampa Bay, which makes this team, it shows that not a lot of teams have been able to beat Tampa Bay at home this season. So for the Phillies to go in there, sweep them, it's been very impressive. Zach Wheeler is going to pitch for Philadelphia. He's gotten roughed up in his past 2 starts. I'm not super confident in him, but I'm much more confident in Wheeler than I am in Alcantara. The one thing about Wheeler is he keeps the ball in the yard. He has a ton of swing and miss ability, and that's something that we're not necessarily seeing with Sandy Alcantara this season. Pitcher's just 3-7. He's got a 4.93 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. This was the Cy Young winner a year ago. Now his expected ERA is a 4.2, so it's 0.7 lower. But when we look at him, like these aren't Cy Young numbers by any means whatsoever. The Marlins expected to have this guy come out, take the ball, and shove in every single start, and we just really have not seen that one bit. He needs to be better. I don't think he's going to be in 2023. Crucial series for both sides, crucial in the playoff race. I like Philadelphia, though. They're a more talented team overall. It should show on Friday, and I think they carry that momentum from sweeping the Rays right into this series.
And had you told me the Miami Marlins would be in the spot that they are in the standings, with Sandy Alcantara being one of the worst starters for the team and being one of the team's weak links in general, I don't know if what I would have told you, but I would have been like, yeah, okay, whatever. But that's where we are right now with them, and this is going to be an intriguing one as well. We've got the Rays and the Tampa Bay Rays and the Atlanta Braves, as these are the 2 top teams really in the National League and the American League. Tyler Glasnow is going to be on the bump for the Rays. We've got Charlie Morton going for Atlanta. And with Atlanta, they're between about even money. I'm seeing as high as +105 between -110 to a -115 on the Tampa Bay Rays. With both of these pitchers, they do a good job of being able to generate strikeouts. Where do you stand here?
Yeah, give me the Rays money line for whatever price you can get it at. I know it's been dropping a little bit, but I do like the Rays in this spot. These are 2 of the best teams in baseball. Could be an early World Series preview as well, but the Rays have the higher upside in the spot with Tyler Glasnow on the mound. His numbers aren't as good as Charlie Morton. He hasn't been great since returning from the injured list, but when you look at Glasnow, elite strikeout ability, which is clear. He's got 23 punch-outs in his past 10.2 innings of work. He's only going to go about 5 innings in this game, so keep that in mind. And when it comes down to it, I like them at home. I know they just got swept by the Phillies, but they are 34-13 at home this season. I think that's going to get them over the hump in this spot.
And keep in mind with the Tampa Bay Rays, best bullpen ERA in the big leagues over the last 30 days as well. So even though you might not get like 6+ innings out of Glass now, I think that that's very big. And what's always important on the show is having great guests. And Tanner Kern, he's one of the best in the business. He does a great job on baseball, but I know that he's getting set for the upcoming NFL season. And coming up next, we are going to be diving into the AFC North right here on the Greg Peterson Experience on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.